Don't take it, don't. Don't take it, don't. Don't take it, don't. Don't take it, don't.
Greetings and Happy New Year to all of you. I am Kira Epstein, the program coordinator at the New School at Commonweal. And today we welcome back Dr. Rachel Naomi Remen and musician Karen Drucker for a celebration of the new year. For anyone who may be new to the New School at Commonweal, we are a program that presents conversations and performances with inspirational artists, leaders, scientists, and doctors, among many, many others. We've been offering our programs free of charge and in the spirit of gratitude for about 15 years, well, more than 15 years now. And we have almost 400 conversation recordings on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Spotify. And Rachel has been with us for a number of them. Yes, we are recording. The recordings will be posted on Rachel and Karen's Facebook sites and on the New School at Commonweal's website at tns.commonweal.org, and on our other media sites. Again, those are YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. In addition, everyone who registered for this event will get an email from us with a link to the recordings when they're posted. So I would imagine that almost all of you know our guests, or you wouldn't have signed up. Rachel has been medical director for the Commonweal Cancer Help Program for many, many years, and she's joined us many, many times at the New School as well. And we're so pleased to welcome Karen Drucker back to the New School and to be able to enjoy her heart-opening music and singing here with us. And Rachel and Karen will be back with us on February 14th for a special Valentine's Day event with music and stories about love. So be sure to mark your calendars and register on our website for that event as well. Finally, a big thank you and welcome to you all for joining us to hear these stories and music. And we're just honored to have you with us. With that, I will turn things over to Rachel and Karen. Thank you for joining us at the New School at Commonweal.
Hey, Rachel. So how are you, dear one?
I am good. How are you?
We've had a morning, haven't we?
Yeah, we did.
I think people can relate to this because, you know, being on Zoom and all the technical stuff we've all had to go through, it's like, yeah. But before we start, I want to thank Ken, who's doing the behind the scenes stuff, and Kira for all that they've done for getting us here and doing this thing with us today. So thank you.
Yes.
So Rachel, tell everybody what went on this morning with you.
You know, there's this story about the little boy who comes to school and he hasn't done his homework. You know, he doesn't have his homework with him. And the teacher said, "What happened to your homework?" And he says, "The dog ate my homework." Right? Yeah. Well, the computer ate my book.
Oh, yeah.
And what the plan was, it was very simple. I was just going to put up stories on my computer, look at my computer, and read them to you. You know, it should no problem at all. There are no stories in my computer. The only place where the stories are in my book, where they're in a font of maybe 11, right? Or maybe 8. And I am going to be 85 in 3 weeks, something like that. And I don't see very well. I don't read that kind of a font. So I am going to read to you from the books using a very large magnifying glass. And when I do that, you will see the top of my head very, very closely. And you'll be able to hear the stories. But this is not what we had in mind.
And life just happens like that, doesn't it, Rachel?
Yes.
You know, we have our plans, and then life just kind of comes in and goes, "Well, no, what about this? How are you going to react to that?" I mean, who can relate to that? You know, I mean, I think that's especially, you know, when we're talking about new beginnings and the new year. and you think about, okay, it's a new year and I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I'm going to start writing my novel that I've, procrastinated about. I'm going to join a gym. I'm going to, and then like life happens and, we're showing up and doing the best we can. Don't you think that's what it is?
There's that. And there's also the way that things begin. And new beginnings are usually present a long time before we notice them. Mm. And that perhaps the way we grow is when we notice them and realize that we've been moving in a new direction for a long, long, long time without knowing. And then we start to do it on purpose. Right? And a lot of the stories that I'm going to read about that are about that a new beginning is not something we choose. It's not like a New Year's resolution. Oh, I'm going to walk a half a mile every day. And that lasts about 3 weeks. Right? A new beginning often looks like a loss. Mm. Often it's a discovery of something that's been there a long time and nobody's noticed. And the art of living, I think, is to collaborate with what's already happening and recognize that the plans you have for yourself, your life, may not be as good as the plans that the universe has for you.
I love that.
And all you have to do is let go and notice what is real and natural, not what you think you should be doing necessarily, but who you are and how you express that.
Oh, yeah. Beautifully said. That's the theme of what we're going to talk about today. All of that, letting go, where, just allowing it to be. One of the things that I say in a lot of my songs is I surrender to my highest good, whatever that is. I don't know what it is. Yeah. But let me, I'm going to sing one of those songs in a bit, but let me just to start off today with a song. Let's just so that we both give ourselves a break, because we were talking about, oh my God, we've got to be perfect. It's got to be good. Let's just, we talked about just showing up, and to me, one of the things that is so important, I think, is giving ourselves a big old break. Allowing ourselves, if we just look at the top of your beautiful head for an hour, that would be fine. It's fine. So let me, can I sing one little song for you, Rachel?
Yeah.
Let me do this. All right. So you can get up and wiggle around a little bit if you want. Here's my story. It started in 3rd grade. The teacher said, let's sing and have some fun. So I let it rip and I let it wail. And she said, Karen, why don't you just hum? So for many years I squished my voice, thinking I was wrong. Till then one day I learned the truth. And now I'm singing this song that says, I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. Now I'm standing in front of the mirror, obsessing about my belly fat and my thighs, my butt wrinkles round my eyes. Who could live with judgments like that? The media tells me daily I should be young, tall, tan, and thin. But the truth is, when I accept myself, that's when I win. I say, I don't have to be. Now I want you to sing with me now. I'm doing the best I can. When you're out there in the world, give myself permission to be just who I am. I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. Perfection's an illusion. I can't give my power away. I can lighten up, let it go, know that I'm okay. All right, it's time to blow. And it matches my outfit. See? Now I'm older and I'm wiser. I don't really care what people say. If someone thinks I'm not perfect, perfect, will I just bless them on their way? Life's too short to be judgmental. Take a break and have a good time. If you're struggling with this issue, well then raise your voice with mine. Just raise your voice with mine and say, I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. Every day I say, I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be. Now I want you to sing this with me out there in the world. I don't have to be. I'm doing the best I can.
Doing the best I can.
I give myself permission.
Give myself permission
To be just who I am. Sing, I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. Said, I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. I give myself permission to be just who I am. Cha-cha-cha. There you go. You like my little applause button? So that's it. I don't have to be perfect. So now we have all that space, Rachel.
Right.
So we can screw up if we need to.
Well, let me put a story into that space. New beginnings, making a resolution. I decide who I want to be, and I'm going to be it. I decide I want to be 30 pounds lighter, and I'm going to do that, right? I don't think that's what new beginnings are really about. New beginnings are actually often not new. There's something that's been growing below the horizon. There's something that has been changing. There's something that is presently there and usually unseen. And I have a humdinger of a story about new beginnings. It's a little long. I'm going to be reading it with my glass, but I'd like to read it to you. And it has to do about discovery. And, instead of making New Year's resolutions, it might be interesting to say, how do I discover what really is new and put my energy behind it? Right?
Oh, I like
Because
that.
a new beginning, when it arises, if it's powerful, is recognized, not chosen, and then chosen, but recognized. It's usually been happening for quite a while before anyone's noticed.
Well, it's like planting seeds, planting seeds in that soil that you can't keep digging up the seed to see where it is.
Yeah, but in this case, we don't plant these seeds. We are these seeds.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So let me read this to you. Again, you're going to see the top of my head.
Well, but what we talked about, Rachel? Tell everybody, you can just close your eyes. And remember when your mom used to read to you and you'd close your eyes and she'd read you a story? Everyone just close your eyes.
Good. Okay. So, about 25 years ago, a hospice director invited me to facilitate a day-long retreat on stress reduction and renewal for the hospice staff. Is this workshop for the professional staff? I asked her. No, the director said. It's for everyone that works here. The hospice occupied the whole building, and more than 45 people staffed it. At that time, some hardly knew one another, and there was an unspoken but intangible dividing line between those who offered direct patient care and what was referred to as the support staff. It had been this way for years. This was of deep concern to the director. As she described the way the hospice functioned, I couldn't help thinking of the caste system in India. In addition to stress reduction, she would like every person who works at the hospital to feel that they are a valued part of a single service organization, she told me. Perhaps you might do that in the morning session. As she went on to talk for her goals for the afternoon, my heart sank. I couldn't think of any way to make her agenda happen, and certainly not in a single morning. But I have my resources. As soon as I could, I called Marion Weber, the coordinator of experiential learning in the physician's postgraduate program at Commonweal. Marion is an artist who has a fine understanding of the unconscious mind and a profound intuitive approach to healing and the building of community. What do you think? I asked her. No problem, she said with a laugh. It really is one organization, and everyone there is an important part of it. You don't need to make that happen, Rachel. You just need to make it visible. And that's, by the way, a very important piece of a new beginning. It's already present. We don't make it happen. We just recognize it and collaborate with it. And this is a spectacular story of that. Over the next 15 minutes, Marion worked out a group exercise for the morning session. Following her suggestion, I sent a letter to everyone who would be at the retreat, welcoming them and asking them to bring with them a small object from home that symbolized to them the meaning of their own work at hospice. The letter said nothing about the purpose of those objects, and a great deal of curiosity was generated. This is the best way to meet with the new, with curiosity, right? Right. A great deal of curiosity was generated. Should I tell them more? I asked Marion. Certainly not, she said. By the morning of the retreat, I had many reservations. I had never done this sort of thing with such a large group before. There were 45 of them. Neither had Marion. I felt it was quite possible that things were not going to go as she predicted. But there is a deep river of truth that runs through our daily experience. Sometimes tapping into it in the simplest ways will have profound and moving outcomes. We were not going to make something happen. We were going to uncover something that already was happening. The exercise Marion suggested was very simple. I began by asking everyone to sit in a large circle on the rug. There were about 50 people in the room. I don't believe that they had ever sat in the same room before, and people were not completely comfortable. When everyone was settled, I invited whoever would like to go first to say their name aloud and show us the object that they had brought, the object that represented their work at the hospice, and tell us about it and how it represented the meaning of their work to them. There was a long silence. And then a young man stood. Saying that his name was John, he showed what he had brought. It was a small ceramic bridge, which he had taken from his aquarium in the morning. Holding the bridge in his hands, he told us that he had brought it because he felt that his work was a bridge between the fears and needs of dying people and their families and the healing power of the hospice. This work is important to him because his mother had died, frightened and alone when he was a teenager. Where do you work in the hospice? I asked him. I'm one of the telephone operators, he told us. The room was absolutely still. Moved, I asked him to put the bridge in the middle of this circle of people. He set it down carefully on the rug and went back to his place in the circle. 50 pairs of eyes looked at it in silence. Something frozen in the room moved slightly. The next person to speak was a middle-aged woman who had brought a crystal paperweight in the shape of a heart. She said that her work was about listening to what was spoken and what was unspoken. She said she had been trained to listen with her mind, but through this work, she had learned to listen with her heart. This had been important to her because for a long time she had not known she had a heart. She was a social worker at the hospice. She set her object in the middle of the floor next to John's. And then person after person spoke about their objects and the meaning of their work. The things they brought were unique and varied. There was a tiny lighthouse, pictures of family members, a statue of Kuan Yin, the goddess of compassion, a nightlight, and a cross made out of 2 nails, a ragged teddy bear from someone's childhood, and even a pair of newborn baby shoes. Every object reflected one of the many facets of the hospice's profound work of service. People who had barely said hello to each other before listened to each other with absolute attention and respect. Slowly, something ineffable began to become visible in the middle of the room. Although they'd never seen it before, people knew it had always been there in their midst, and they were a part of it. The director had taken me aside before the morning session and told me she'd forgotten her object. She was certain that this would not matter. I think it does, I told her, and suggested she find something that symbolized her work, either from her car or from the beautiful natural setting that surrounded the meeting room. She looked at me doubtfully, but she went in search of something. About 3/4 of the way through the exercise, she stood. She told the group that she had forgotten the object that she was meant to bring and had gone to find another one. The one she'd found was much better than the one she had meant to bring. It was the right one. Reaching into her pocket, she took out a rock about as big as her hand. It was very ordinary. And there was still some dirt clinging to it where she had dug it out of the ground. She held it up, and everyone looked at it puzzled. This was a difficult woman, a very strong woman that other people saw as rigid and harsh, right? This is what I bring to the hospice, she said quietly. It's not soft, and it doesn't change easily. It is steadfast. You can count on it, and you can build on it. And walking forward, she gently laid the rock with its dirt down among the candles and the hearts and the statues of the Buddha. The group contemplated it in absolute silence. Something among the symbols of the hospice's work, this was truly one of a kind, but perhaps there's only one of this kind that is needed. In the silence, I could feel a sort of shift happen in the room, the sort of experience that I sometimes get in a therapy session just before somebody sees the familiar in a new and deeper way. The strength and determination of this visionary woman that others had sometimes found daunting had become the foundation of the work itself. She was their Rock of Gibraltar. At the close of the exercise, we stood and slowly walked around the 50 objects lying in the middle of the room so that everyone could see them from all sides. In the elegant language of symbolism, something that had mattered deeply to everyone present had become completely visible. The objects had been brought by nurses, doctors, telephone operators, cleaning women, social workers, and file clerks, among others. But it was not possible to tell by looking at them who had placed them there. Were they put there by a nurse or a telephone operator, or what had been added by a file clerk or a doctor? In 2 hours, people had gone beyond the divisiveness of their expertise to experience the deep unity of their shared purpose. Many people were in tears. There is in all work of service a deep soul, something that has called those who participate in the work and sustains it. The experience of this can become lost in the daily, the mundane, the routine, the expertise nature of the work. But it is important to evoke it now and then, to make it visible, to make it tangible. That which sustains the work will sustain us too and bless us with its strength. And the hospice was never the same again. A new beginning. We did not bring something that wasn't there. We just made something visible that had been there for a long time. Yeah.
That's beautiful. So, Rachel, one of the things that happens with Zoom is that people can comment with little emojis. So you're getting a bunch of hearts that are coming up. So you can touch people's hearts. I'm seeing all these little hearts coming up in the screen. Lots of hearts now. That's great.
Yeah.
That's what you are, Rachel. That's what your writing and your being brings is just heart.
Yeah.
I have to sort of take that in.
Yeah. New beginnings. And in a funny way, a new beginning often is going back to the foundation rather than forward to something new. It is new because it was not seen before, but
Right.
Once seen, it's recognized that it belongs to you. It's not something you're trying to become. It's something you are and have not yet occupied. Yeah. It's very different.
One of the things I love about this time of year is that it's really the time to go within, to really uncover some of that stuff that is there that in our usual time of running around and, all the stuff we have to do, that it feels to me like the darkness, the winter time is just that time of the seeds are there, but it's just allowing things to just be and not necessarily do so much.
Well, there are issues of control here too. I mean, when I decide that I'm going to walk a mile a day for the whole next year, right? I'm in charge of that. I know what I'm doing. I decide I'm going to do it. It becomes very hard to do sometimes, but I'm going to push through. I'm going to keep doing it. And it's all about making something happen rather than recognizing that growth is the foundation of all life. It's already happening. The new beginnings in you are already happening. And often they require us to go back to them rather than create them. To recognize them rather than create them. And that often we don't know where we're going. If I think about new beginnings in my life, and one of the things that's fun to do is to say, okay, what are the new beginnings in my life? I mean, what were some of the real turning points in my life? And I can tell you about one of mine. I come from a family of doctors, nurses, doctors, intellectual, brilliant people, not warm and fuzzy at all, not at all. And I, from childhood, the only factor in my life that held me to who I really am was my grandfather, who was the father of all these intellectual people. And he was an Orthodox rabbi, a mystic. He was part of the mystical arm of Judaism in the middle of this sea of rationality and competence and what have you, which were his children and his family. And I can tell you when my life really began, right? I was sitting at my desk at Stanford. I was the first woman doctor to ever be on the faculty there in the Department of Pediatrics. And I was the associate director of the clinics. And I was well on my way to my lifelong goal, which was to be the dean of a medical school. And I had been focused on this, and with tremendous effort and difficulty, had been moving towards this for many, many years. And and my opposite number, the guy who was running the medical clinics, showed up in my office, and he had a whole bunch of mimeograph papers in his hand. They were all different colors. Mimeograph was our way of communicating with each other in the day. And he put them down on my desk, and he said, "Look at this. There's this place called Remen Institute, and it's really beautiful. It's on a cliff at the edge of the ocean, maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours south of here. And they want to have a group of doctors come for 1 weekend a month, free, 1 weekend a month for 2 years, and see whether or not, healing has anything to do with medicine." And I remember thinking, that's ridiculous. What has healing got to do with medicine? Medicine is expertise and science. And I said, "Say more." And he started telling me about these free-thinking people, and they had all these different ideas about this and that. And that was of some interest to me. I had been a philosophy major. I always didn't get into medical school because my major was irrelevant to medicine. Right.
Yeah.
And, the fact that all these ideas and stuff like this, I said, "Say more." And then he started talking about the hippies and the naked people and the baths and all this stuff. And I got it. I got it immediately. Right. I got it immediately. This was for me. I was going to do this. I had just broken up with my boyfriend of 3 years, who could not compete with my focus on becoming the head of a department or a dean in a medical school. I mean, he just left. And I needed a new boyfriend. And I recognized this thing immediately. I knew exactly what it was. What a great way to meet men. So I signed up. And that path led directly to the chair I'm sitting in today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
So the thing is that my integrity usually has to get my attention by disguising itself as something that I really want to do, right? I'm always doing the right things for the wrong reasons. So spotting what's new, what's unfolding, I've learned to recognize that something is always unfolding. We are all a process, and that where we're going may be something very different than where we think we're going. But hopefully, if we follow what's being shown to us, we're going to where we belong. I do not belong as the dean of medical school.
So when you let that go, though, when you actually really saw that your life was not going that direction, how did it feel to let that dream go? Because you were so attached to it. Did you have the new vision of where you were going? So that really
for the first time, it occurred to me that I might be the right person. I had been trying to be the dean for so long that I thought that in order to make a contribution to this world, I had to make this effort to become this person who was the dean of a medical school, right? And what I discovered was that I was the right person, and that medicine itself was a process. Yeah.
Well, I still maintain that if I didn't get fired from my job at the Red Lobster singing in the bar, that I would still be there singing New York, New York and Evergreen. So
Say more. That's wonderful.
Well, truly, I mean, that's what happens in our lives, that things happen and we could think they're devastating and, oh my God, how could I have lost this job? This is all I know. This is my identity.
Yes.
And I truly believe that life is this zigzag path that when you are able to listen and go into your heart and say, what is true for me? What lights me up? All that stuff. I mean, I was not supposed to be singing in a bar to 5 drunk people in the back. I mean, it took me years, to get to what I'm doing now, but it's like all the disappointments that I thought, because I started off as a singer-songwriter in Los Angeles, taking my little songs around to publishers and getting rejected, but going, I'm going to make it and I'm going to do this. And that was not who I was supposed to be. And it just went through so many series of disappointments and new paths opening up that I had no idea about, just like you, Rachel, that it's like this whole path that I'm on happened with a girlfriend who worked at a New Thought church, just saying, hey, can you come on Sunday? I have another job someplace. Can you come and sing a few happy songs? I'm like, I don't do church. I don't do New Thought stuff. I don't know what any of this is. And 20 years later, this is my life. But, I had to let go. I had to let go of what I thought was what my path was and trust in what the universe was showing me. So I think it really comes down to listening and allowing it to be.
It's so interesting that a new beginning isn't actually new. It's usually going back to your identity, which may be very different than what you think your identity is, or what people told you you're supposed to be, or what people respect even.
Yeah, I love the idea of the concept of like stripping away the onion. It's like you just keep taking away those things, or not even an onion. I like artichoke better because you get to the heart. It's like you just keep stripping away things until you get back to who you are. This is what you were supposed to do. I mean, look at what you've done in your life by making that choice. You've brought the heart to medicine.
Well, I had an actual experience of this kind of thing. Let me just share it with you. I was part of this group of doctors, and we became what I would now call a think tank, along with some really, really heavy-duty thinking people. I mean, people who were courageous in their ability to wonder about things, right? And about 3 or 4 months into this, right, I began to have panic attacks. I mean, real panic attacks, awful. And so I went to the woman, Suki, who was, and we were a research project. I mean, this was all being studied, the reaction of the doctors and the process that we were in. And I told her I just couldn't go on. I was having these night sweats and they were just awful. And I would have panic during the day, and I'd never had that before. And I was leaving. And she was able to say to me, well, sure, of course you can leave, but not until you find out what this is about. You don't want to leave until you find out what this is about, do you? And I wanted to leave now, right? But I was embarrassed to say that I don't care what this is about. I'm out of here, right? So she says, well, why not wait? You just think about, let's do a little imagery. And imagery was something unheard of in the day. Close your eyes, allow an image to come for what's going on for you. And I said, I've got one immediately. And with great certainty, with the way you make a diagnosis, that's Crohn's disease, right? I've got the image, right? It is a long, flat, white rectangle. It's a business card, right? And she said, well, I'd like you to just, in the next few weeks, just call this thing to mind now and then, and just sit with it. Let's find out, what does it mean? I said, I have no idea. She says, just sit with it and sort of listen to it. Oh my God, this is so woo-woo, this is ridiculous. But I said I would do it. I was embarrassed to say that I don't want to do this. Right? So I started hanging out with this image, and nothing happened for about 3 weeks. I'd sit down and I'd look at it and I'd wonder about it, and nothing happened. It was a business card. It was obvious. You could see it was a business card. The moment when I discovered what this was about, I can tell you exactly where I was. I was driving a shift car up one of the steepest hills in San Francisco. And I was so focused that, I had to be sure I didn't slide backward into the car behind me. And I'm completely occupied with my driving and getting up this almost vertical hill. And suddenly the image appears to me. There it is, except something's different. And as I watch, its shape is changing. It's getting a little shorter and a little fatter in the middle, and a little shorter and a little fatter. And as that happens, as I see that, it's shape changing, I have a panic attack that is, I can hardly breathe. And I'm driving in the car, and I managed to pull over and park the car. And this overwhelming fear and panic and guilt, feelings of guilt come over me. And I'm watching this thing, and suddenly I know what it is. It's me. It's me. It is, I have been a child of a cognitive, competitive, intellectual family. I've been told how to be a success in this world, who I'm supposed to be. I've been squashed flat by the pressure of everyone around me in this other pattern. And that the workshops that I was attending were causing this pressure to lift. And I was changing my shape. It was not my natural shape to be flat like that, to be intellectual and cold and rational. And as I watched this thing change, I knew exactly what it was. It was a marshmallow that had been under steady pressure from the moment it was born. And now it was going back to who it was, right? It was me. And I thought I was dying. I wasn't dying. I was going home to myself. I never had another panic attack.
Wow.
And, I think that a lot of new beginnings have to do with looking at familiar things and seeing them very differently. New knowledge is very much part of this.
I have a song about that.
Yay, I hoped you had.
How about this? I am open to the possibilities. I am open to the possibilities of a life that is meant to be lived by me. And I don't have all the answers now, but I'm willing to take it slow. And I believe that something is calling me where that path will lead. I don't know, but I am open to the possibilities. I am open to the possibilities of a life that is meant to be lived by me. There's an open road as far as my eyes can see, and my heart will show me the way. I love this line. Step by step through the mystery. Ah, that mystery thing again. I surrender every day. So sing that with me now. I am open to the possibilities, to the possibilities. I am open to the possibilities, to the possibilities of a life that is meant to be lived by me. I am open. So some of the key words in that song are being open to not just the possibilities. There's so many possibilities. When you all of a sudden become a squishy marshmallow, it's like, who am I to be? And I love the line of, it's like being in the mystery, You don't always know what it is, but it's trusting and surrendering to, okay, some path is going to present.
Well, you know how often it is you're already on that path, isn't it?
True, yeah.
And
already there.
It's a lot about having new eyes, that you're already in the midst of a new beginning. And often very, very commonly, people decide what they're supposed to be rather than knowing something and following an inner compass.
Yeah.
And it's all about seeing differently.
New eyes.
I mean, if you think about the people at the hospice, nothing changed except their eyes.
Shift in perception. Yeah. Rachel, we have just about 10 minutes left, but we want to just open it up. If anyone wants to make a comment or a question about what we've been talking about, I'll be looking at the chat here. Let us know what you think about all this stuff, or even more, what is kind of a new beginning for you that you want to even just put in the chat. Let us know what's on your heart right now.
I think the interesting thing is how often people are immersed in a new beginning and they don't see it, or they're not aware of it.
That's a great
one.
They're
focused with their cognitive mind that they're supposed to be somebody else.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be somebody else. And, the wisdom of living well is living the life that belongs to you. Yeah.
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 So some of the things are coming in here of people talking about beginnings, new beginnings, age of retirement. I love the concept of retirement is you are retiring.
Right.
It's like putting on new tires. At 64, I keep seeing how the passions and places come together. That's great. The passions and pieces of her life is coming together.
I'm going to be 85 in a minute. Right?
I know, and I just turned 65.
And so many people have been talking to me about retirement and how it's seen by a lot of people. Now I can do what I want. Right? Now I can do the things that matter to me. Right? Yeah. So who did you have to ask for permission?
I think that's a great question.
That's a really important question. Yeah.
It's like now, it's like society and everyone says, okay, now at this time, now you get to do what you want. But it's like, now, do it now. So I'm just reading some of these comments that people are saying. Someone's begun, I love this. Since the pandemic, she's gotten into painting. I just think, now I believe I'm an artist. It's never too late. That is for sure. Never too late. I just truly believe. Refirement. That's good, Deb. Thank you for saying that. Retirement is really refirement. light that passion, light that flame that's already in you.
There's something so important here about reclaiming the richness of your own life, rather than trying to create a life that somebody told you that you are supposed to have. And the new eyes concept, the voyage of discovery lies in seeking new vistas, having new eyes. Can I read you a quick story?
Please.
How many minutes?
Do that, and I'll just end with a
it's
song.
called A Room with a View. After completing the last treatment in a year of powerful chemotherapy, one of my clients went to San Francisco overnight with her husband to celebrate. Her oncologist had tried to discourage her from going. It seemed rather pointless to him, as she was still too weak to see the sights, to go to restaurants, to participate in any of the fabled activities of this rich and complex city, San Francisco. He couldn't imagine why she might want to go if she couldn't do these things. So he had suggested she wait a few months until she got stronger. But she and her husband had gone anyway, and they stayed at a hotel. Afterwards, I asked her about it. It was wonderful, she said. First, we ordered room service. They brought it on a table with a cloth half an inch thick. My first meal without a tray. It was so elegant, the wine glasses and the butter carved into little flowers and the food. We had this lovely room overlooking a little park, and we sat and ate real food that I could actually taste in the nude. Then we made love. Then we took long, hot baths and used up all the towels in the bathroom. Great, big, thick towels. There were 12 of them. And then we used up all the delicious smelling things in the little bottles and watched both movies and ate most of what was in the refrigerator, the little refrigerator, and sat outside on the terrace in our bathrobes and saw the moon rise over the city. We found all the pillows that they hide in the dresser drawers and slept in this king-size bed with 8 pillows and saw the sunrise. We used it all up. It was glorious, she said to me, a woman who spends most of her time in a hotel room asleep. And I wonder how many of us are asleep. Right? And that all we have to do is give ourselves permission to be the people we are and not the people we're supposed to be, because there may be something that governs the world that makes us exactly the right people to be alive in this moment. Yeah. You got a song?
I do. I love how this works, because I had another song and now all of a sudden, no, this is what I need to sing right now. I just love that. Just whatever pops in. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. My mind is willing, that's one of the keys. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free. As I continue walking in this mystery, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take will be taken in pure faith. And I am kinder every moment, every day. Now there may be walls and there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose. I'll say that line again. I can choose. I'll say it one more time in case you didn't hear it. I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. All right, sing with me out there in the world. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I'm more loving. And I'm more loving every moment, every day. And I am present. And I am present every moment, every day. I will surrender. I will surrender every moment, every day. That's kind of it for me. I have to, like, every day, just surrender. Okay, the path is here. Just walk.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Rachel, it's so lovely to just hear your stories. And, you know, a few of the people here were saying, like this one woman just said, Craig said, he has a carried, worn out copy of Kitchen Table Wisdom. He said is just all, like he just carries us around. So thank you for reminding me of, you know, these wonderful stories that I have to go back and reread. So Kira is with us now again. And so just a little plug of, come back, everyone. We're actually going to retitle some of these to be, let's talk about love. Let's talk about loneliness. Let's talk about, so next month is going to be, let's talk about love, all parts of it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun for us because we get to just have juicy stuff to talk to each other about what we're going to talk about with you. So this is fun for us.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rachel and Karen, and all of you for coming. It's wonderful, just so wonderful to have this kind of event and offer music and story. It's sort of a divergence for what we've done in the past, and it's just wonderful. And permission not to be perfect.
What a concept.
Just a reminder, if you want to watch or rewatch or share this conversation with others, we'll have the recordings produced in about a week, and you'll get an email when they're ready if you've signed up for this and registered. And if you're on the New School mailing list, you'll be notified when the recordings are posted also. Or you can check Rachel or Karen's Facebook sites. Our website is tns.commonweal.org. And don't forget our next Music and Story event with Rachel and Karen, February 14th. I hope you can join us. And another reminder, Karen has many other events and offerings, and you can find out more about those on her website, karendrucker.com. So much gratitude for all of you who are joining us. Thank you for being with us at the New School at Commonweal today. We'll see you next time.
Don't take it, 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 don't take it,